Countless men have shared a dream of playing under the brightest lights. They all feel they belong. They all feel they've earned it. From freshman football on Wednesdays to college game day on Saturdays, they've been the best of the best, working tirelessly to hone their craft. Exhaustion, injuries, nothing will stop them from reaching their dream. They will not be outworked. They will not let someone take it from them, for they know nothing will be gifted to them. They know that to make it, you've got to take it. They will not be outworked. From scorching summer workouts to pro days, they prepare. The Combine does not hold records. It presents challenges. A draft spot can be earned or lost by tenths of a second. They've worked their whole life for this. Doubt them if you will, but this is no longer just a dream. This is their story.
Welcome into the DML Network and another episode of the Gridiron, where we're going to look at these rookies stepping into the DML here as we get closer and closer to this draft. It's your boy Expert, and you know I don't do these shows on my own. I got the OG with me, my fellow co-commish, Tone Dog in the building. What's going on, Tone?
What up, what up, what up?
No doubt. Love it when the homie Tone gets on the show with Expert. And we got one of the guys in the DML that I just love doing shows with. Always got great insight. Doing some great things over there on his YouTube channel, running through those Chicago Bears. It's the Bus in the building. What's going on, Bus?
What's going on, man? Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get it going. And we're going to start in Oklahoma, guys, with our first linebacker. I think this is our only linebacker in the group here. This is the left outside linebacker. We actually have three. But this is the Michael Fairley here, Tone Dog. And this is the linebacker that can do it all. He can watch the pass. He can play the run. This is a kid that just flies around the football. What do you like about DeMichael here?
Yeah, man. DeMichael, actually, I love everything about him. He's one of those cats that's like basically an every down linebacker, so he can stay on there on third down, rush the passer. He can stay on there, obviously, on first down and stop the run. He's got a lot of length, and he's got actually pretty good speed. So I like the way this kid is playing right now.
Yeah, and this is a big kid here, Bus. We're talking 6'4", 230 pounds at linebacker and can just fly around the football. What does a guy like this mean to a team that's drafting high in the first round and can secure a guy at left outside linebacker or maybe even move into that defensive end position? What's a guy like this mean to a team, Bus?
Man, it means everything, man. This is one of those guys, man, where if you picking high top 5, then this is that golden pick where you know he won't be a bust. You know what I'm saying? So with Fairley out there, man, you expect him to make plays in the pass, in the run game. Hey, might even be on special teams, man. You just never know. But he's a guy that can just do everything, man.
Yeah, and you're seeing some of his highlights here at Oklahoma against Texas Tech where he engages those blocks, he gets off, he makes a play on the quarterback, but you also saw him slide and fill that hole on the backside. And then you're going to see him in coverage, just doing all the things that you expect every down backer to be able to do. And it's going to be key for some teams that are struggling right now playing defense. And, of course, you know, we don't want to give away a lot of chicken here. But like Bus said, this is going to be a top 5, top 10 pick. I definitely can see this guy going early in the first round. There's going to be a lot of guys that are looking at him to secure that linebacker position. But let's move on to the biggest guy here on the Gridiron. And this is the defensive tackle coming out of Notre Dame, Fernando Doyle. And this is just a huge man. You better double team this guy and know where he is, what gap he is in, because you do not want to run anywhere close to him. And you're going to see a lot of film here with 91 all over the place, just creating traffic for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And Bus, this is a Hulk-type defensive tackle that has great hands and always finds himself around the football. What do you like about Doyle here coming out of Notre Dame?
Man, this is a massive defensive tackle, man, that you can just plug in a 3-4. He's going to take up 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers and let those linebackers just fly around. Dude is 6'5", 303 pounds. He kind of reminds me of the old bear named Ted Washington, man, that, you know, he just took up blockers, man, and let linebackers fly around. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if whatever team drafts him, what scheme, if it's gonna be a 3-4 scheme or a 4-3, or I mean, he may even play a DN in a 3-4. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's fast enough, but I think he's very versatile.
Yeah, and Tone, he talked a little bit about Washington from the Bears, but this is a guy now. He's not. I wouldn't say he's as athletic as Warren Sapp was for the Hurricanes, but this is a guy, like Bus said, that he's going to demand some presence in that middle and let his linebacker standing behind him have free lanes to run in. But as you can see on this film, he is just wrecking havoc in the middle. If he gets single coverage with one lineman, whether it be a center or a guard, he is winning this matchup most of the time. And Tone, talk about how important that is in this Madden, where pass rush seems to be, if you can have a good pass rush, you find a way to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said, expert. And this guy's block shed and get off is damn near second to none. And I actually like this guy. I know Buzz said he kind of liked him in the 3-4 at the single technique, the nose tackle. But I think he can kind of play a little bit of everything. If you can move him around to a DN, maybe even like a 4-3, I think he can still set the edge. He can make the tackle. He's going to basically play all over your line. So I would just say move this guy around. Don't keep him in one defense. You can still use him even in your nickel base package. So this guy is a winner. He's got block sheds. He's got long arms. He's going to demand the double team. He's going to stop the run. And his block shed is, like I said, second to none. So when you're back there trying to pass or play action, watch out for the middle.
Yeah, and you see Fernando right now. I mean, the spin move off of the double team is just, it's crazy. And his motor never stops. And that's what coaches are talking most about Doyle coming out of Notre Dame, is just his motor of just never quitting. The play is never over for him till he hears a whistle blown. But let's move on, and we got to talk about the key position in Madden, and that's the quarterback coming out of Michigan State, Jonathan LeBlanc. And this is a statue standing in the backfield, Tone Dog. 6'4", 235 pounds. And this guy has a cannon for an arm here.
Yes.
And let's talk, because quarterback is such a key position in the dynasty for most guys. I'm going to say this right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars are looking very, very hard at Jonathan to come in here and take over for Blake Bortles. But, Tone, let me hear what you thought about LeBlanc and his time at Michigan State.
Yeah, well, the Bortles might not be too happy to hear the Gridiron show today. But, yeah, the LeBlanc, Michigan State, this guy, 6'4", 200-plus pounds, can sling the ball everywhere. Like all the scouts say, he can make every NFL throw. He's not your fleet of foot athlete, so he's going to stay in there and he's going to take the shot, but he's also going to deliver the pass. He's been known to put the ball in the air 60 yards, standing flat-footed. Michigan State had a great year last year. This guy is a captain of his team. He makes all the throws. As you can see it right now, this guy is basically, putting the ball right there at the needle, giving the receiver time to catch and throw the ball. He's a great field general, but he's also got a strong arm. So I think obviously he's probably come off as a strong arm, but he's got great awareness. And anybody that's picking in the top 5 would be a fool not to go get this guy to helm their team. Yeah,
and you heard Tone talk about that field general. This is a guy that completion percentage-wise, one of the top quarterbacks coming out of college football. And, unfortunately, we've had the conversation with Blake Bortles already. He knows time is short in Jacksonville. But, Bus, is this a guy you see as a franchise quarterback who can lead a guy from the second season we're going to have here in Dynasty all the way to high stakes? Is this one of those quarterbacks, Bus?
Yeah, man. LeBlanc is one of those guys. He's a franchise guy. If you're looking at the film here, you see him in a lot of shotgun situations, but I want to see how he fares, being under center. That's a big transition for college guys coming into the NFL. They're always in that spread and in that shotgun, but some of them have a hard time adapting to, taking the ball from under center. So if he can make those adjustments, yeah, LeBlanc is your man.
Yeah, and you talked about being in that spread formation. Michigan State did not have the best offensive line. And so they wanted to give him as much time as possible to stand back there as you see him running the option play here. That is a big guy running that play. Now, you won't see a lot of NFL teams running that option. They're going to run the read option, and he'll get what he can get. But LeBlanc was always one of those guys that could stand in that pocket, take a shot, and still deliver the ball, and going to be a great pickup. We certainly hope when the Jaguars select in the first round that he will be there, because he is going to be a game changer for a franchise here in the Dynasty. But let's move on. And Tone Dog, this is in your backwoods here. This is the University of Southern California, better known as USC. And let's talk LeBradford Hicks. LeBradford Hicks is the left outside linebacker, 6'5", 230-pound, power rushing defensive end. This is a kid you can line up. This is a Von Miller type of guy coming out of USC. And you've seen a lot of this guy play as you are a big Trojan fan. What do you like about Hicks?
Oh, my God. Everything, if not anything. I mean, as you're watching the tape right now, look at his get-off. 45 is just, treating this guy like a rag doll. We're coming around him, and we're attacking the quarterback. Watch out for 45. This guy, you can line him up at outside linebacker in the 3-4, rush D end in the 4-3. He can stay in your nickel package. No more sub linebacker, so keep this guy in 24/7. This guy is a monster. Now, comparing him to the first outside linebacker that we had, they're basically about even, but I might give this guy a little bit of the edge. There are a lot of Pac-12 teams that run nothing but the spread and pass a lot in that conference. So this guy has seen it all. He's rushing the passer. He's guarding your slot guys. This guy can play every position. I love this guy.
Yeah, and you see the tape here, Bus. Hicks is just all over the place, and the poor right tackle here from Washington has no chance of blocking him. And this is a guy who his teammates said is the first guy in the building. He's the last kid to leave. He is a study linebacker. He wants to know tendencies more than anything when he faces his opponent. And they say just because of his work ethic makes him a better linebacker than most guys in the country. And what does that say about a guy as he's about to step into an NFL program, how important that is when he has that ethic already as a college football player, Bus?
Oh, man, that says a lot, man. That says he stays in the film room, man. He watches film. He's just there, all the time. This guy's ready to ball, man. He's just like the other outside linebackers, man. He's going to come in and start day one. Playing for Southern Cal, they kind of compared it to one of the greats. Thinking that Ray Maladuga. So he's going to come in here and be ready to play.
Yeah, and this is a guy that's drawn comparison to several great outside linebackers. Most recently, I heard Von Miller, and that's just a guy who comes off the edge. You have to chip him with a running back, put a tight end over there, make his path to the quarterback even longer. But as you can see on the film, he is great about getting off a block and going and making a play. And I expect Hicks to be a top 5 pick as well. We'll see 2 linebackers go off the board very, very early. But let's move on to Experts College. That's the Wisconsin Badgers. And there's been some talk about Gordon Slater, the wide receiver coming out of Wisconsin. Bus, Wisconsin is not known for having, top tier wide receivers coming out in the draft. And there have been some reports of Gordon Slater maybe sliding out of the first round and being a high second round pick. But what do you like about Gordon Slater? I'll get into a little bit of that, those reports here later. But what do you like about this kid and his route running ability and his ability to stretch the field for the Badgers?
Oh, man. Gordon Slater is, I think, a stud. As you mentioned earlier, I guess for him to stand out from a school that is known for running backs and offensive linemen, he has to be doing something right. He's a great slot guy. He comes in at 5'9", 179. So he's real quick and shifty. So he's going to find those open spots in those zones that, a lot of defensive coordinators like to run, and he's going to force you to change it up. You know, Slater is he's a baller, man, so he's going to go out there and produce.
Yeah, and this is definitely a shifty guy. Line up in the slot. He also lined up at outside wide receiver quite a bit for the Badgers in their 2 wide receiver set. When everybody thought they were running, this is a kid who stretched the field for the Badgers. And Tone Dog, he's not the biggest wide receiver. We're going to see another wide receiver in Rashawn Bass a little bit later, who's got that prototypical over 6 foot, you know, a little bit bigger wide receiver pushing 200. But Gordon Slater caught everything thrown to him and was a outstanding guy for the Wisconsin Badgers and led those guys to multiple winning seasons. Can you see this guy making an impact on a dynasty team, whether in the slot or on the outside, Tone?
Oh, definitely. This guy is basically, I mean, right now he's your poor man's Wes Welker or Edelman. But this guy catches everything. I'd say don't let the size fool you. Like you said earlier, you can keep him in the slot. You can play him outside. He's got deceptive speed. He catches everything. Super, super shifty. His route running should be very, very high. Like the bus said earlier, this guy is basically standing out in the offense, which usually features the running backs and the offensive linemen. So for this guy to be getting the attention that he's been getting, he must be doing something great. The quarterback always finds this guy, as you can see in this play, which looks like a little slant out. I mean, he's taking the ball and he's heading straight upfield. He can make the first guy miss. You could play him on a kickoff return or maybe even punt return as well. So this guy is really like everything in your toolbox that you need. It's a great pickup for anybody who's looking for a great slot receiver that they can have on their team for a long time.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the reports that came out this week. As Gordon does not have that prototypical wide receiver body. He's more that, like Bus said, that Wes Welker, that Julian Edelman, Cole Beasley type of guy. And Gordon is one of those guys that wasn't recruited very highly out of high school. Ended up taking one of the few scholarships he was offered to Wisconsin. But is the leading wide receiver in Wisconsin Badger history after 3 years. This is a kid who's done everything imaginable as a wide receiver, has been up for awards for the best wide receiver in the country all 3 seasons he's played for the Wisconsin Badgers. And I expect this guy to go mid to late first round. For a team that needs some help at wide receiver, Gordon is going to be a great pickup. But we got to move on. One more linebacker in the group, and he comes out of Georgia, and it's Stanley Strojny. This is a speed rushing outside linebacker coming out of Georgia. He's 6'2", 253 pounds. And Stanley is one of those guys that got overlooked quite a bit this year as he was playing for Georgia because of the way that offense plays. Everybody talks about that Georgia offense.
Yeah.
But Stanley is one of those guys who has secured his spot as a top 15 draft pick. And scouts are expecting him to have a very strong combine. Stanley is one of those guys that can flat out run. He's going to have a high acceleration, high speed rating as we step into this next draft. And Bus, Stanley is one of those guys where, he doesn't have the best cover linebacker abilities because Georgia used him strictly as a speed rusher. Is that something he's going to have to fix as he gets into the DML?
I really think it depends on what type of scheme he gets drafted to. If he's in the 3-4, he could just be a primary rusher. But I remember visiting Georgia versus South Carolina, and in that game, Georgia pretty much lined him up as a DN pretty much the entire game. So he was strictly rushing the passer. Now, I don't know if this is going to be his primary position coming into the draft, but he really excelled at rushing the passer. I mean, if that's what he's going to do, then, hey, let him put his hand down and go get it. So, Strong-G, he's going to make some plays. He's going to get after the quarterback and have plenty of sacks.
Yeah, and you talked about that game versus South Carolina. I believe in that game, he did have 3 or 4 sacks, but they did primarily use him as a DN because they're so worried about his cover skills at linebacker. And South Carolina had some pretty stout wide receivers that really could have gave Stanley some issues. But Tone Dog, is he automatically now a defensive end, or do you see maybe a team giving him a shot to maybe stand up on 2 feet and try and play some coverage?
I'm not sure. If they do, it might just be, something like on the backside or something that, like a flat route or something like that. Because this guy is strictly speed rusher. He's got speed rusher written all over him. Like you said, his coverage skills are definitely not good, which is pretty crazy because at 253 pounds, a speed rusher, you would hope that he would at least be able to cover for a few feet. So with that being said, I think the teams that do draft him will be drafting him as a strictly rush the passer down guy. There are a few packages, again, not too much chicken, but you can get him in when you need him without doing too much flipping of the depth chart. Now again, this guy coming out of the SEC in Georgia, you definitely needed a speed rusher, whether it was South Carolina or Alabama or LSU. This guy racked up multiple sacks during games. He hurried the quarterback on 3rd down. Obviously, he was in on every 3rd down, but there were some downs where, they did a hurry up and went to 4th down, and you could leave him on the field and still get the same results. So I think this guy, I'm not sure how high he will go, being that he only is kind of great at one thing. But once you put him at that one thing, he does what you wanted him to do. So.
Yeah, and that will definitely be one of the biggest question marks about Stanley as we head into the combine is, can he stand up and be that cover linebacker in a 4-3 scheme, or is he going to be a strictly D end? It's something that he's talked about. He wants to be, one of those linebackers that can do it all, and he's going to have to prove it. He's got, of the 3 linebacker, he has the worst cover skills. And he's going to have to prove it if he's going to be an every down back here in the DML. But we got one more. And of course, it wouldn't be the Gridiron if we didn't talk about someone from the U. And so we have Rashawn Bass, the wide receiver I alluded to earlier, 6'1", 183 pounds. And this is a burner coming out of the U for the Hurricanes. Matter of fact, every corner in the NFL, you need to back up right now because he's already ran past you. This guy, Rashawn Bass, is going to be a problem in the DML as you see the footage of him just breaking tackles. And once he gets in that open field, you better take a good angle because he is gone. Tone Dog, talk to me about how important this guy is for a franchise, especially with his speed and his catching ability.
Oh, man, this guy is taking the top off of any cover 2 that you put out there. Tampa 2 coverage, cover 2 press. I wouldn't do it. Not with this guy. Hey, look, expert, not with this guy on the field. And look, he wears number 88 for a reason. Michael Irvin has come back and has talked to this man. They work out together in the summer. This guy's route running ability is second to none, and he's got the wheels to back it up. If he's even, he's leaving. I promise you. 88 does not play. You want this guy on your team. He's a deep threat, so his archetype is already set for the deep route running and the get by you and to catch the ball and to keep going and the rack and all that other good stuff. But you can play this guy all over your offense. I've seen him in the slot. He definitely plays the 1 position and the X or the Z, wherever you want to line him up. Get this guy on your offense. He is a game changer.
And Tone Dog talked about it for a brief second. His route running bus, second to none. And it's one of the things that the Miami coaches talked about quite a bit. This is a guy that can run every single route. He's very, very crisp. And you see that because guys are scared about his speed, he gets cushion. And so because he knows how to run every route to a precision that we haven't seen in a long time, makes him a dangerous wide receiver. And you saw in the film where LSU tried to double cover this guy, with a corner underneath and a safety over the top, and he basically ran past both of those players and then went up and mossed both of those guys on the sideline and had the notion to still get his foot down. Is this the most complete wide receiver we see coming out of college football here, Bus?
Yeah, this guy is very complete. He's the receiver that every GM wants. He's the receiver that every GM wants to make that trade for to get up into the first round or even the first overall pick. I mean, you mentioned earlier that, DBs were given cushion. Well, DBs giving cushion, you pretty much setting yourself up for the stop and go. You know what I'm saying? So he's just gonna run past you with a go route, with a slant, with a zig. I mean, he can probably run routes they haven't even put in the game yet. So, hey, Bass is the man. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and you see him here on the film going against Florida, where his quarterback scrambles. He never gives up on a play, and he finds the open spot. He's very, very smart about getting in that zone coverage, finding a spot, sitting down, or running past guys in that zone. And Miami did a really good job of getting the ball in his hands, and they made it a point, sometimes to a fault, of forcing it to him. But like Tone said, he's got that Michael Irvin 88 on his back, and he took that to heart. He talked about continuing that legacy at Miami of wearing 88, and definitely wants to continue that tradition as he gets into the NFL. And if this guy is half as good as Michael Irvin is, this is going to be a stud. And every time I see Bass play, Tone Dog, the first person I think of is the OG Chris Murray. This is a Chris Murray type wide receiver that he would love to open a can of Spam every single game and just hand this guy the ball as much as he possibly could. But let's talk. Is this a guy that changes the offense from maybe at the bottom of the level of the league, like we saw Rashawn McKinnon do last year, and vault you into a top 5, top 10 offense and make you a guy that finishes 3rd or 4th in your division to seeing you win the division?
I think so. I mean, this guy, not only does he stretch the field to allow teams to run, but he also stretches the field. So you can put this ball up and this guy will go get it. You can send him on a 9 route and you're running a toss sweep behind him. This guy is a game changer. He's going to change the way you call plays. He's going to change the way you set your scheme, and he's going to change the way you play the game. So whether you're a first down, run the ball guy because you don't think that, you can get over the top of these base coverages that people are playing on first down, this is your guy. This is the guy that allows you to do that.
Yeah, no doubt. And Rashawn Bass is going to make an immediate impact here in the DML. All right, guys, those are the rookies that we looked at here on the Gridiron. But we got one more thing to take care of. Let's talk draft for the Raiders and the Bears for a second. All right, Tone Dog, where are the Raiders going in the draft? And we already know it's defense, as the Raiders decided to trade Khalil Mack to the other guy on this call.
Correct.
Those Chicago Bears, but they gave up a first-round pick for him. Matter of fact, they gave up 2, one this year and one next year. Correct. Which got to kind of give you, some kind of solace that while you don't have probably the best pass rusher in the NFL, Khalil Mack, you do have a first-round pick coming with a load of talent here in the first draft of the NFL. Where does Tone Dog go?
Well, see, unfortunately, the Bus and myself are actually sitting okay right now. If I could take a slice of pie from my boy Ness, we're okay. We're doing okay. And so with that being said, the pick is not as low as I would have hoped. So right now we're probably looking at a super late first or a super high second, however you want to call it, apples to oranges. Yep. But so, we're looking at the draft board. We got our eyes on a few people. We got a couple guys that are seriously long in the tooth right now, that we're debating on whether to bring back or not, or sign to a 2 or 3 year contract. So we'll see. Obviously, like you said, we do need a pass rusher, and we'll kind of see where the draft goes and how these players fall. But we'll have to see which direction the Raiders go. But we have our eyes on a few guys.
No doubt, definitely has a plan there in Oakland. but having a great season. Wish you nothing but luck the rest of the year. Hopefully we see those Raiders in the playoffs here in the DML. But let's switch over here to the Bus and the Chicago Bears. Bus, you gave up a first-round pick this year and next year to go get Khalil Mack. Was it worth it?
Yes, man. When you got a guy like Khalil Mack on the market, you give up everything. Like you sell your house and you go get you an apartment. You know what I'm saying? So Khalil Mack right now has about, I think, 14 sacks on the year. So he's doing this thing, and we tagged him up with Leonard Floyd and Roquan Smith. So the Bears are playing pretty well right now. We lost 2 in a row, but we bounced back against those Lions, man. But as far as like our outlook on the draft, well, I'll just tell Nuke, hey, just wake me up when the third round comes, because we don't pick until the third round. So
yeah, it's going to be slim pickings for those Bears as they gave up everything.
We getting leftovers, man.
Yeah, you'll definitely have some leftovers. But the great thing is you have a young football team there in Chicago, and they're playing real well, leading the division. But going to have to finish strong as everybody in the NFC North is battling. I see the Lions playing well. Hamilton and the Vikings trying to do some things, and then Mo Booker being Mo Booker with those Green Bay Packers. I will say this: the Jaguars are looking at the QB position very, very heavy as we go into the draft here. We should see a change at the helm. Unless Blake Bortles, comes out and balls the rest of the year, you will probably see a new general on the field for the Jags. But guys, those are the top rookies here in the DML that we looked at. Can they fit with your squad? That's what you have to decide. Are they going to be a scheme fit for you, or are you going to take a risk on a guy and move him to a position maybe he's not ready to play? Those are the GM decisions you got to make in the DML, and that could be the difference between hanging a banner and finishing in second place here in the DML. But it's the rookies here on the Gridiron. It's your boy Expert on behalf of the DML Network, and we out.